So then, is there ever any attempt on his brother's part, the different ones you've mentioned, Tracy, Con, Sherm, to know where they are or where they live?
Well, Uncle Sherm lived in fact, Uncle Sherm quit his job on the railroad and went out. Grandpa had bought a farm near Lawrence, and he always wanted one of the boys to farm. And Uncle Sherm went and stayed 1 year. Then we went and stayed 7 years. And when we came back, we lived on the Illinois side in Granite City, and Uncle Sherm lived up at Alton, Illinois. So we kept, we were fairly close to them. Uncle Tracy joined the Marines, and for a long time the family didn't know where he was. When he came back, he'd been in the Marines and all around the world. And he didn't marry until he was considerably older. And Uncle Con was the baby of the family, and he went west, and I'm not sure where. Seems to me Arizona. But he married out there and adopted a little girl.
What one thing would you like to have all your great-grandchildren to know about your mother? If you could think of one thing. Now, we haven't talked about this, so this is going to be sort of off the cuff, but what one thing would you like them to know about her?
Well, my mother, from the time my mother was about halfway. Grandma, well, let me start over. Grandma had 10 children. That is 10 pregnancies.
You're talking about Sally Tiefenthaler.
Yeah.
McPhee, okay.
McPhee,
she
yes.
had 10 children.
And my mother was about the 5th. 'Cause there were 5 children younger than she that didn't live any length of time. There were twins, and they did live a little longer, the 2 boys. And out of the 11, there were four boys and 7 girls. But the children that did live was the oldest son, Willie, Grandma always called him, and then she had Minnie, Hattie, and Fanny that were in consecutive births and did live. There were children between Willie and Minnie, and there were 5 after my mother. But the river flooded every spring. Venice is right on the Mississippi River, and they all had typhoid, bad water, and so on. So at the time my mother came along, the family, they had plenty of money, and as I said, she had a musical education, and she used to tell about playing out on the street when she was little, and that she went to the Catholic school. My grandmother was a Catholic convert, and after they graduated there, they took the ferry to St. Louis every day. And some man told her one time, "You girls don't know it. You got a pudding and don't know it," because they were getting to go to high school and ride the river and so on. But her health failed, and the doctor said she would either have to give up school or her music. And in that time, she was practicing 4 hours a day on the piano, and then it took a while to cross the river, and then they walked, I think, to the schoolhouse, and there wasn't too much time left.
So you'd like them to remember that she was a musician?
Yes, and that was when they were young ladies. That's how they spent their dates, weekends. Sometimes they played together, and sometimes not. And then the boys would sing quartet music, and they didn't have TVs and radios and such things, and that was their music and what they did.
Well, I can say that I can remember grandmother playing the piano.
Yeah. And she was interested in opera. She made sure that we went to see a few after we got back to St. Louis. And my father was not in the least musical. He couldn't carry a tune. I inherited that side. I can't either. But,
As I can remember, she played was it Over the Waves?
oh
No?
yes.
Yeah, that one, and the Blue Danube.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
She played a lot of, and not too awful much popular music. And she played a lot of classical music.
Yeah, she was a special lady. Well, thanks, Mother. I think our tape is about finished.
Okay, I am too. Well.